Their first rookie minicamp practice last Saturday. Jags head coach Liam Cohen believes they got a good one and time will tell.
I would assume, just watching, ran a route yesterday where his shoe came off and didn't quite affect him, made a great catch, and it's more just his presence, right, and the energy that he does provide, both in the classroom, in the meeting rooms, and also out here on the field. So really hard to tell in this kind of setting, though.
Head coach Liam Cohen, sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp hit the road for a 6-game series against Norfolk Tides up in Virginia, with the first game tonight starting at 6:35. It's 80 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Taylor Dahl still off enjoying vacation this week, but we will talk a ton of stuff today, including the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, of course, were out on the field on Saturday for rookie minicamp. Mia, I've said that I think, obviously, Travis Hunter's a starter. I think Caleb Branshaw can start at safety, and I think Wyatt Milam can start at left guard. There's one guy that I'm starting to wonder if maybe he's also a starter, and that's linebacker Jack Kaiser.
So I had somebody text me this morning and they were like, hey, what's the scoop from Jaguars rookie minicamp? Which, in case you missed our show yesterday, the scoop is I saw them for 45 minutes. How do you want me to make a verdict and make an official ruling on who these players are? Once upon a time, I thought Brian Thomas Jr. was going to have a large rookie curve and how that one turned out. So probably not best to ask someone after a 45-minute viewing portion of practice. However, with that said, in speaking with folks around the Miller Electric Center, Jack Kaiser, as we have said on this show, and certainly when we had Malik Zaire, the former Notre Dame quarterback, join us, as intangibly rich as they come, teacher's pet for some of you. For some of you, how intangibly rich he is may actually come off as annoying because he is that guy who is going to give you 110% every single day. He is that guy who is going to paint inside the lines. He is that guy who is always going to follow the letter of the law and the rules. As I'm saying all of this, Lauren Brooks, it's music to her ears. To me, I'm like, I don't know about this guy. I'm just kidding. Point being, yes, he's the type of guy who's going to do everything you ask of him, and that is what Liam Cohen alluded to when he singled out Kaiser as one of the players who stood out so far in rookie minicamp.
I think Jack Kaiser, first and foremost, on the defensive side of the ball, just from a diligent standpoint, you can tell he's already has some of those leadership qualities that you look for. He's in really good physical shape coming into camp here this weekend. I think Caleb Branshaw as well stood out on the defensive secondary. Wyatt Milam did a nice job in the drills over the course of the last 2 days. And, really all these guys did a great job. We'll be able to go watch the tape from today. A lot of mistakes and things that did happen to occur yesterday, but that's part of it. But overall, really appreciate their energy and enthusiasm.
To answer your original question, could Jack Kaiser start for the Jaguars this season? I think at some point, Lauren, but ultimately it's a numbers game. They are committed to easing all of these rookies into the system. And this idea of, well, yes, James Gladstone said we don't want anyone in the way of those young defensive linemen. There are linebackers who they are high on in that building who are ahead of Jack Kaiser, and that's okay because they don't want to put the cart before the horse. They don't want to throw him into the deep end. They want him to take a step back, reel it in, reel it. We know you're ready to go. We know you're in shape. We know you're ready to go. Reel it in a little bit. Start you on special teams. Start you as the 5th linebacker, and then we progress from there.
I think Jack Kaiser is a guy that is going to be on the field. Maybe not a day one starter, but I think he is going to be on the field a lot when it comes to September. Whether they rotate their linebackers some, I think Foye will always be on the field, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a rotation there alongside Foye in the middle of the field. And then I think because of his football IQ, he's going to earn some playing time. And that's a great thing because I'm not so sure about some of the other linebackers that they have, like I said, outside of Foye Oluokun. I don't know if Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma are going to fit what Anthony Campanelli wants to do with this defense. And so I think that was a draft pick that a lot of people in the moment weren't as high on. Obviously, Taylor loved Jack Kaiser, but she would have preferred Xavier Watts, who was still on the board at that point in time. But I think Jack Kaiser is going to play a bigger role than I might have originally imagined.
See, I disagree.
And by the way, I love teachers' pets because I was a teacher's pet. I don't think they're annoying at all.
That's why I said it.
I love the people who work hard, follow the rules, do exactly
I was
what
a
they're
teacher's
supposed
pet
to
too.
do.
I just don't follow the rules, which I know grinds your gears sometimes. But hey, listen, the world was created to be gray, not
For
black and
sure.
white.
Absolutely.
Point being, I do think that what you're forgetting is, number one, this draft pick should not have been surprising because you have two of those three linebackers beyond Foye Oluokun currently on the depth chart ahead of Jack Kaiser who are entering contract years. The third will be in a contract year next year, has a history of injuries. What we also are forgetting is that, well, yes, just about everything that could go wrong went wrong in Jacksonville last year outside of Brian Thomas Jr. One thing that did not go wrong, special teams. Both the special teams coordinator and the assistant special teams coach were retained. You had two Pro Bowlers at both the punter and the kicker position. And you couple that with a coverage unit that was among the best in the National Football League. Two of those three linebackers, if only in spurts for Ventrell Miller, but certainly with Chad Muma as a core four guy, were integral parts of that special teams unit. That's why I think all three of those guys are firmly on the depth chart, on the team in 2025. Jack Kaiser will push them. That's part of why you bring in the teacher's pet, because you want somebody who's going to get after it every day, who's going to push those guys to be even better than they are. Which, by the way, look, for as much as we knock Devin Lloyd on this radio station, again, I go back to number one, he's not been put in the right position to succeed. We don't know what that position is. We still don't, entering year 4. But he is the type of guy where when you tell him to do something, he does it. He's from a military family. He has a military background. Like,
he's intangibly rich for sure.
Intangibly rich, too. So is Chad Muma. So is Ventrell Miller. Always a smile on his face. If anything, in October of this past year, I was sitting here saying, why is Ventrell Miller the one breaking down the huddle? He's a second-year player who didn't play his rookie season because he was hurt. Why is he the most vocal leader on the field? So that's where, well, yes. Do I think Jack Kaiser will earn playing time? Will he fight for it? Will he push those guys? Yes. He's going to be part of special teams regardless. I just think that this was a move that was made for the future, even if, yes, he pushes the current crop right now.
Yeah, I think it spoke volumes about where they selected him for sure. We talked yesterday about Travis Hunter and the relationship with wide receivers coach Edgar Bennett. For some reason, I didn't even think about how important the relationship is going to be between Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter when it comes to Travis learning how to run routes. Benjamin Solak of ESPN, most people have of course heard of Mina Kimes. Benjamin Solak does something very similar to Mina in breaking down the film every single week, but obviously this time he broke down the rookies from 2024. And this is what he has to say about Brian Thomas Jr. Thomas's ball tracking and adjustment at full speed and through contact are eye-popping. He said he reminds him after watching A.J. Brown's rookie season. That to me says that, and he goes on to say that he thinks Brian Thomas Jr. will be talked about as a top 5 perennial receiver, which is huge to be with the likes of Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Brian Thomas Jr., what he's going to bring, obviously on the football field, but also in those meeting rooms with Travis Hunter, I think that's crucial. And I know he's young, but he still has a year of experience under his belt.
And it goes back to what we just said about the linebacker position. If you're Travis Hunter, you are not coming in day one and expected to have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Yes, there is pressure, to be clear. To be the first two-way player in modern NFL history, to be the number 2 overall draft pick, there is pressure. But he is not expected to be that alpha number 1 wide receiver, despite the fact that he very well could be too on other rosters right now. There's a glide path. A glide path has been one of my favorite words of 2025. I think we need to replace onboarding when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars with glide path. I like using glide path because it's what I'm encouraging my parents to do, because if you don't want to fully retire, just create the glide path of you're pulling back a little bit or you're easing into it. That's what the Jacksonville Jaguars have done. That is how James Gladstone has set up this roster. Because of the presence of Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter doesn't have to be catching 80 balls over the course of a season and being a 1,600-yard receiver. Could he? Absolutely. But this idea of, hey, there's someone else in front of you. You need to have chemistry with that player. You need to have chemistry with your quarterback. You are expected to contribute and produce early on, but not to that extent. The same thing can be said for Kaiser in the linebacker position. We don't know what's going to happen at running back, but I could argue that it's a similar situation because you, at the very least, have a Travis Etienne, have Tank Bigsby, have known commodities who have pelts on the wall ahead of those rookies. And so even if you get them onto the field, they are not the focal point of your offense or your defense.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, the chemistry that he's going to have to, I think, refine with Brian Thomas Jr. is important. And Travis Hunter has never had an NFL quarterback outside of, I guess, Seth Hennigan throwing in the football to this point. So,
Shedeur Sanders is an NFL quarterback, Lauren. I regret to inform you.
Yes, sort of, kind of. But yeah, obviously the way Trevor throws the ball is different than a lot of other guys. And so you have got to get them out on the grass, since they love to use that term. Benjamin Solak also said that Brian Thomas Jr. did all of that in a total mess of a Jaguars offense, which is both a feather in his cap and context for his dominance. So that's also obviously something to keep in mind.
Sorry, Mac Jones.
Sorry, Mac Jones is right. But look, this Jaguars offense, I haven't been this excited about the Jaguars offense in a long time.
And I thought since last year. I'm just kidding.
No, last year, because Trevor was coming off of obviously like 5 different injuries. And look, I've been a Brian Thomas Jr. fan from watching him at LSU. But the overall offense, they didn't do a ton to the offensive line. I wasn't sure about the running backs. I loved Evan Ingram, but they didn't have much after that, it felt like. Wasn't sure about Brenton Strange. It just didn't seem to be an offense that was going to be top 10. This offense potentially, especially with the additions of those 2 rookie running backs, I think could be a top 10 offense in the NFL, which is crazy to say, but it's in part because of Liam Cohen, and it's in part, obviously, because of the picks James Gladstone has made and the fact that Brian Thomas Jr. is already here.
I think a lot of it has to deal with what we discussed yesterday, the commitment to running the ball, the commitment to easing the load on Trevor Lawrence, and as a matter of fact, his old head coach was up in Amelia Island spewing similar discourse, and we're going to hear from him later in the program.
Yeah, Dabo Swinney joined XL Primetime yesterday up there, like you said, at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island, and I think Dabo Swinney and Trevor Lawrence still have a close relationship, so yeah, we'll let you hear from him. On the other side, you're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL. Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
Need fresh and flavorful lunch? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durbin Park, or Butler Point at Chicken Salad Chick.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. Plus, my family is obsessed. E.T.'s asking me about it on the regular, wondering if he should go get a closet from Closets by Design. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you want? Think tool storage, workbenches, flooring, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes you guys, too. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. Visit closetsbydesign.com.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
It's a magical phone line.
Check this out.
It brings you things you can't get anywhere else, like insider insight from sports experts. Listen for the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Check. Every day on 1010XL.
Get ready. Welcome to Rockville is gearing up to take over the Daytona International Speedway from May 15th to 18th with Green Day. Sometimes I give myself Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival is finally here. May 15th to the 18th in Daytona Beach. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. Select passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all. From mowing, edging, fertilizer, to irrigation, and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Girls, we run this mother. Girls, we run this mother. Girls, we run this mother.
Hey, O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Taylor Dahl has the week off. She'll be back with us next week. All right, XL Primetime live from the ACC spring meetings yesterday, Mia, and had a chance to catch up with Dabo Swinney and Fran Brown, the Syracuse head coach.
A very colorful interview with our friend Fran.
For sure.
Which lived up to the hype. Let's just say I had more than one person come up to me and be like, did you hear how many cuss words? I said, listen, man. Like, this is why we love Fran. We love the authenticity. Just had to give Fran his flowers. I know maybe broke a couple FCC rules. That's okay. We love you, Fran.
That's why we have
You're
a
welcome
delay.
anytime. You're welcome anytime.
Why we have a delay. All right, so Dabo Swinney, the Clemson head coach, obviously coached Trevor Lawrence when he was in college. And Dabo was asked, of course, about Trevor and the Jaguars.
not just the foundation of football. He's got a great foundation to life. He is he's passionate about doing the work, which is really what it takes. He's just an incredibly grounded guy. He's a great teammate. I always say he looks like Hollywood, but he's the most un-Hollywood guy you'll ever meet. He's just a very genuine, low-maintenance dude that just loves to do the work. And, man, is he gifted. So, but he can't do it by himself.
Right.
And, and then they got another guy that, if they'll just give Travis Etienne the ball enough, he'll make something happen. I think they've put some good pieces. Obviously, Travis Hunter, wow. That's going to be fun. What an amazing young talent he is coming in there. And sounds like, again, they're getting the offensive line where it needs to be.
A lot to unpack there. Mm-hmm. Let's start with the Trevor piece of it, because then the follow-up was asked, does Dabo sense? Or actually, let's have Matt Hayes ask the question. Who am I kidding?
Have you sensed frustration from him at all over the last 4 years?
Yeah, well, he wins. I mean, if you know anything about Trevor Lawrence, just go back and look at his career. He's always won, forever. This guy, what, he lose one game in high school, maybe two, and then he comes to Clemson and wins 29 straight.
Right.
And going in back-to-back national championship games, 3 straight playoffs, 3 straight conference games. I mean, second in the Heisman. I mean, he's just always won. And so I definitely think there's been some challenges that he's had to deal with, and part of that's being in the NFL. I mean, how many undefeated teams have there been in the NFL? I mean, it's a different deal, but. And then he's had some injuries. He was never a guy that really battled a lot of injuries, and he's had a couple of tough breaks. But he's as tough as they come, and again, incredibly smart, incredibly gifted, and he's got a long future ahead of him. And I'm excited to just watch it all play out.
Now, a lot of that we've heard a time or two before. I do like Dabo's Hollywood explanation, this idea of he's got the one of the Heeligans likes to call, actually it's a Heel-Billy, not a Heeligan, the Fabio hair, sure, but ultimately someone who is salt of the earth, down to earth. You've heard that a time or two with regards to Trevor Lawrence. But Dabo's openness to discuss the frustration that Trevor Lawrence has felt, to defend this idea of he is a competitor, don't think the last 4 years have not affected him to a point where he is out to prove people wrong, which is not necessarily the Trevor Lawrence we saw in college, because that Trevor Lawrence lost 2 total games. The fact that Dabo Swinney, and certainly he's plugged into all of his alums, he speaks, I don't know how regularly he speaks with Trevor, but he's plugged into what's going on in Jacksonville, just like he is with all 31 clubs. But the fact that he immediately can say, I think they're trying along the offensive line, they just need to give Travis Etienne the ball, a.k.a. just run the ball, says to me that Dabo's planting some seeds out there, Lauren, of maybe, potentially, some conversations that maybe he and Trevor have had, but certainly it appears he and his staff back in little old Clemson have had, looking at their former star pupil.
Yeah, I think the main phrase is Trevor can't do it by himself. That is certainly a key to take away. I don't know that Trevor's necessarily said those words to Dabo, but I think if you put on the film from the last couple of years, Mia, there have been a lot of drops. The offensive line hasn't been able to protect him, and the Jaguars couldn't run the ball effectively. They did run the ball really well in 2022, but not the last couple of seasons. And so it is certainly a blend from the offensive coordinator, the play caller. That was a huge part of things the last 2 years as well. Liam Cohen hopefully will fix that. But I do think we have this conversation all the time. Do people give Trevor too many excuses, or are these reasons? I think the answer lies in both worlds.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah, it always does. Again, no, we don't live in a black and white world. It's a world of gray.
Right. He's not perfect, but I think given good time to protect him, and if his running backs, now they certainly have a stable of those guys, if they can get back to around 5 yards per carry, if they can do that, then I think Trevor doesn't have to play hero ball, and then that's when we will see fewer of those fumbles, fewer interceptions, and maximize what he's got. We talk about this all the time. What did Trevor have at Clemson? Those 2 receivers, Justin Ross,
receivers, correct,
who could literally fly,
right, and create separation, right. And as Dabo alluded to, the college game is much different than the NFL, because most teams maybe don't have Justin Ross and T. Higgins, maybe don't have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but they have an offense that is capable of taking the top off with multiple receivers and not saying, well, we're just going to throw out 3 slot receivers and a tight end who is a move tight end and we'll figure it out from there, even though we all know that when Jamal Agnew is on the field, he's going to get the ball. We all know that what Evan Ingram's going to do if he's on the field. Yes, he proved himself a capable blocker and grew as a blocker during his time here in Jacksonville, but there's a pretty good chance he's going to be splitting out and becoming a receiver, an option in the passing game if he's on the field. And that for me is where it's so funny because I've been perhaps one of the biggest proponents on our radio station of critiquing the Mickey Mouse offense up at Clemson. But ultimately what that Mickey Mouse offense did was it out-athleted you. The Jaguars now are at a point on offense where not only can they out-scheme you, the hope is with the new offensive play caller being their head coach, but they also can out-athlete you too. And that is what he had at Clemson.
Absolutely. And Trevor Lawrence now can go into this season with obviously the new playbook, but with guys that fit his skill set. I think if you were to ask Trevor about Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, they would say what you just said. Yeah, the great guys, and they did exactly what I needed them to do on the field, but they weren't able to get Trevor to utilize his biggest weapon, which is a gorgeous deep ball. And he also probably hasn't had enough time to be able to get the ball downfield because the offensive line hasn't protected him.
Speaking of, great comment off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. No, not you hillbillies who are piling on Trevor Lawrence. 904-641-1010, the number to get in touch with us at 601. Before Jacksonville drafted Travis Hunter, I thought opponents would play 2 high safety against Jacksonville and just double Brian Thomas Jr. But with them getting Hunter, I think teams are going to have to stack the box, make them throw, and say, okay, Trevor, let's see if your accuracy is still suspect.
Right. And that's why like I said earlier, I've not been this excited about a Jaguars offense in a long time because they have such speed now, because they have guys that can make incredible catches. When was the last time there was a Jaguars receiver that we would put in the top 10, let alone top 5 of the NFL in being able to catch the football? Justin Blackman, maybe
for 4 games.
Allen Robinson, I guess a little bit there, but he was able to high point the ball at times.
Jimmy Smith is the answer.
I mean, it's been a long time, and now the Jaguars have 2 of those guys. Yep. You can literally put on a highlight reel of Brian Thomas Jr. and some of the catches that he made last season, and of course Travis Hunter at Colorado and the catches that he made there. All right, so you mentioned Fran Brown. He also joined XL Primetime at the ACC spring meetings, and of course was asked about Jaguars running back LaQuint Allen.
LaQuint was the toughest football player on our team. I wish I had 20 of him because we would have won the national championship. The fact that he's in Jacksonville and what they're trying to flip and trying to do, there'll be nobody there tougher than him. That kid is tough, he's competitive, and he loves to compete.
1,000-yard rushing, 500 receiving. That means he can do a lot out of the backfield.
He'd play safety if you want him to. Mm-hmm. He's a competitive dude. So love to compete.
You're saying 7th rounder, he makes that roster?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love that. Not your question.
Yeah, he's on the team.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's on the team because this is the first draft class of a new regime. Right. So I think
what he can do.
Right, and what he can do, and this idea of, again, much like the linebacker room where we began the show, Travis Etienne is in a contract year. You're going to need to see something out of Keelan Robinson because obviously was injured to begin his rookie year and kind of sputtered from there as things spiraled out of control. Tank Bigsby. There's still haters out there on the street for the 3rd round running back out of Auburn. There's still people who question his game. There's people questioning Bashal Tutin and the fumbling issues that have not only plagued his collegiate career, but also that have plagued Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. And so, yes, I think LaQuint Allen is firmly on the roster and excited to see, again, we look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the running backs that Liam Cohen had last year, and everyone wants to point at Bucky Irving. But ultimately, they had multiple running backs who could step in a pinch. Who's to say he doesn't become the Sean Tucker, where maybe he's a third down option and he's a special teams guy. But then against the New Orleans Saints, when Bucky Irving and Rachaad White both can't go, and all of a sudden he's called upon, another Syracuse running back, ironically enough, he's called upon to be the lead tailback.
By the way, have we confirmed if it's LaQuint or LaQuint? Because we thought it was LaQuint after we had an interview with a Syracuse person. And then the head coach just said LaQuint. So now I'm confused. I need confirmation. By the way, most of you by now know, but week 7 of the Jaguars schedule has been released, and it will be the Jaguars versus the Rams over in London at Wembley Stadium. I don't love that game is over there, Mia, as far as just getting to cover it up close and personal because I won't be going to London. But the storylines for the NFL that weekend are going to be sensational.
What I do love is that we already had our friend Jordan Rodriguez on the schedule from The Athletic, who covers the Rams, to join us on Thursday, which, of course, will be after the rest of the NFL schedule is released on Wednesday night. So now we can ask Jordan about this matchup across the pond. Believe it's the first time the Rams have played in London. It's got to be since they moved to L.A., right? I'm pretty sure. At least if memory serves me right. I know they played in Mexico, the greatest.
It's their first time abroad since 2019.
Yep, which was when which is when they played in Mexico. Or was that 2018 when they played the Chiefs in that epic game in Mexico City? I forget which.
Yeah,
if that was 2018 or 2019. First time they've played in London in a hot minute. And that's certainly going to present challenges for the Rams, who, if only in miles, both the Rams and the Chargers, the most miles that will be flown and traveled during the 2025 season. Your Jacksonville Jaguars fourth on that list.
I saw a total for the NFL, over 625,000 miles will be flown this upcoming season with all these international games. The full international schedule has been released, except the opponent for the Chargers, Brazil, week 1. But most people believe that's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. In Ireland, week 4, you've got Steelers, Vikings, followed by week 5 in London, Browns, Vikings. So the Vikings have back-to-back games, international games, but they will be the first ones to ever do that in 2 different countries. Week 6, Jets versus Broncos. Germany, week 10 is Colts, Falcons, and Spain, the debut of Spain, week 11, Dolphins, Commanders. That Jets-Broncos game, also London. So London still obviously has its fair share. But we at least have some games out on the schedule. I'm dying to know, Mia, the one game that I have circled. When do the Jaguars play the Broncos?
Ooh, okay.
That's what I want to know.
All right.
In Denver, when do they play the Broncos? I need that information like I need oxygen. All right, we will get it to the PGA Championship on the other side. Gary Smits from the Times-Union will join us, break down all things Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and more. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Close your eyes and tap your heels together 3 times and think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like
1010XL.
But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Did you know that mosquito bites could lead to heartworm for your dog or cat? When mosquitoes show up, pet parents like me want them gone. Terminix takes mosquitoes down fast, just like they did at our house for our pup. Terminix knows that pets are part of the family, and they do what it takes to help protect them. When mosquitoes show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a mosquito problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through May 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Whether you're navigating rush hour traffic or heading to the home team game on the weekend, remember, drive cautiously. If you find yourself in a fender bender, don't ignore those aches and pains. Injury Care Centers is there for you. Skip the urgent cares that treat colds and flus. They're not equipped to handle injuries. Go straight to Injury Care Centers. Call 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Drive safe, think Injury Care Centers, and go team.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air. keeping you comfortable in every season.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 13, 2007, at the PGA Players Championship at Sawgrass, Phil Mickelson secured the victory, winning his first Players Championship title.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. You're on-road, you're off-road, now you're on the water. Greg, tell everybody what Coach and Honda is offering in the form of boats.
We've got the Honda boat, which is a great runabout fisherman. We've got the Coach boats that are fantastic for getting out with a family. Nice lay-down beds, all with that legendary Honda motor on them.
Check them all out. They're waiting for you. You can see how you can be on the water with Honda or with Coach Pontoon Boats. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Storms are part of every season. Make sure you're protected. Call American Electrical to make sure you have the best in surge protection. Don't lose your home electronics to a lightning strike. Call 737-7770 for American Electrical.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you as we welcome in our good friend Gary Smits of the Times-Union, talking all things golf. Gary, have you been to Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Sad to say I haven't.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a road trip. Needs to happen.
That was never. I would have loved to, because you know what? When they that used to be the first tournament, the tournament before the Players Championship when it was in May, and I was kind of chained back here to town, going out to the course and the weekend before. So I would love to have seen that. I've driven past it because we have some friends in Charlotte, and I've done that. But it's a great golf course. It's obviously a little bit different from the TPC Sawgrass. I would equate it more with Bay Hill. It's a big boy golf course. You can hit driver on a lot of holes. They've done some renovations, but the renovations have all favored the long hitters in the last 4 years. And but I think it's a great test. And the rain they've had up there, that thing is going to play longer, and the greens are going to be softer. So I think the big hitters, the Rory McIlroys, are going to have a little bit of an advantage out there.
Well, would you put Scotty Scheffler in that conversation, Smitter, especially in light of what he was able to do at the Byron Nelson?
Yes, because Scotty is at the point now, and I think Rory's there, but Scotty's at the point now where he can compete on any golf course. And if he needs to go long, he can go long. As long as, he's not hitting it. Look, he's not blowing it over that bunker on 1 at Augusta and hitting a 371. Okay, like Rory did in the third round, but he's long enough. Let's put it that way. And then with everything else that Scotty does well, people want to equate Scotty with a Tiger a lot, and that's okay. We're all searching for the next Tiger. Just like when I started covering golf in '96 on a regular basis, and everybody's looking for the next Jack Nicklaus. What Scotty does, and he emulates what Tiger did, he's a very conservative golfer in the sense that he does not make mistakes. He waits for everybody else to make theirs. He doesn't. He's immensely talented. He's talented enough to hit every shot, but he doesn't draw on that talent any more than he has to. And he will hit a fairway and hit the middle of the green and take a 30-foot putt more than maybe other guys will. And he'll throttle back and he'll hit 3-wood. He'll hit an iron off the tee, and it's actually, fun to watch. But he is like Tiger in that regard about being, conservative. And that's what saves him a lot, because when it gets down to the last 4 or 5 holes and somebody's trying to catch Scotty and he's 2 shots behind, he's got it in the back of his head. Scotty is not going to make a mistake. So I've got to do something extraordinary. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't.
So, Gary, I'm guessing in either order, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler would be your favorites to win this event. But who would you have third and fourth? Would it be a Bryson DeChambeau? Is the moment you say, it's the course favors the longer hitter, I immediately think of DeChambeau. But then, of course, you've also got Justin Thomas.
Sure. You just touched on it. Justin Thomas won the PGA at this tournament in 2017, the first time that they brought a major to Quail Hollow. And they've made a few changes, but the changes they've made, it had to do with bunkering and softening some edges. The changes they've made do not affect a long hitter. They haven't penalized the guys who can hit them. So you got Justin Thomas. Obviously, Rory has won this tournament 4 times as a PGA Tour stop. Okay, including that was his first PGA Tour title in 2010. That was when Rory McIlroy was introduced to the world, and he won that event. And except for one time where he beat Abraham Answer by 1 shot, Rory has won that tournament 3 times by like 4 or more shots. So when he gets going, he dominates that golf course.
As luck would have it, our friends at Hard Rock have the odds as follows for this weekend's PGA Championship. Rory McIlroy plus 325, Scotty Scheffler, the second best odds at plus 400, Bryson DeChambeau at plus 700, and Justin Thomas at plus 1,600. So we've hit 1 through 4, Smitter, as Gary Smits, our friend from the Florida Times Union, joins us on the Checkmate Coatings hotline. Here are some other names as follows in the next best odds according to our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Jon Rahm, the 5th best odds at plus 1,750. Let's circle back to that here in just a second. Xander Schauffele, also at plus 1,750. Ludwig Oberg, the Nocatee resident, at plus 2,000. Yep. You're chomping at the bit to talk about Jon Rahm. Let's do it, Smitter.
Well, look, Jon Rahm is as long as anybody, and he's a fierce competitor. He is a battler, and when he gets in the mix, he is tough to get out of the mix, and that's what I like about him. Obviously, look, I love the money line on Justin Thomas. I may race right out to the Hard Rock Bet or whatever, but I may race right out and put something on Justin Thomas because I love that in this situation. And Bryson DeChambeau. Look, Bryson shows. Look, he's one of the longest guys out there, if not the longest. Okay, but Bryson DeChambeau has great touch in the short game. At Augusta, he did not hit very good iron shots, and he almost bailed himself out a few times because he's really got all the good short game shots. He's an underrated putter. I like that. Schauffel's the defending champion, but it's a little bit different golf course than Valhalla, although Valhalla is a big boy course where he won last year. But you know what? I think you got to look at what's the odds on last week's winner, Sepp Straka. What do they got for Sepp?
Good call. Let's pull that one up, Smitter. Sepp Straka, you got to go off the page, scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
Sepp Straka at plus 5,000, the same odds as Corey Connors and one Jordan Spieth.
Wow. And I kind of like that because Sepp Straka is a guy who, when his 4 victories on the PGA Tour, and you saw what he did the other day, once Lowry opened a door by missing a couple of putts and everything, he was just rock solid, hitting fairways, hitting greens, and giving himself easy 2 putts. He may not have made a birdie, but he down the stretch, but he made easy 2 putts. And Corey Connors is a major champion in the making. And the thing I like about Corey Connors, Canadian guy, is that he doesn't I hate this phrase, actually, for the most part. I hate that thing, stay within yourself. But Corey Connors does not do anything he's not capable of, and sometimes that wins majors. You know, a tough hole, a really severe dog leg, a really undulating green, he just hits the fairway, gives himself a 30-foot putt, and moves on. And sometimes that wins. And but Sepp Straka is kind of the same way, except Sepp's a little bit longer there. And that was a great Mother's Day story for a guy to win that tournament on Mother's Day. And his mom met his father in a pro shop in Austria, and she was American. She went out and she was doing some traveling, and but she had to go to work. She had to make a little. So she loves golf. She went to work in a pro shop, and she sold his father a set of golf clubs, and that's how the romance blossomed. And that's how we got Sepp. And his twin brother, by the way, who was a good player at Georgia, hasn't quite panned out professionally, but that was one of the better Mother's Day stories ever.
It certainly was. Gary, if Travis Hunter was playing the PGA Championship, how would he do?
Is there odds on him?
No.
I'm surprised. Maybe someone's got to throw it out there.
But we know he's good at everything, so, you know.
Oh, I'll tell you what. He's good at fishing. You know, if there was – maybe we need – you know what? I don't know how it works on that bass fishing circuit or whatever, but maybe they need to get one of those guys to give him a sponsorization to the to some bass fishing tournament down in Ocala or something like that and everything, and see what he does. That is one of the greatest stories I think in the NFL right now running is a Travis Hunter story. And I tell you what, we're kind of breaking off a little bit, but man, did he look really smooth at practice the other day. Well, and it was all offense.
Yes, Terry. I mean, Larry. Of course, you also were. You of course are on the not only on the golf beat at the Florida Times Union and the Jaguars beat. You also are on the undrafted or late round rookie quarterback beat. So tell us a little bit as well before we wrap with some more golf on the Checkmate Coatings Hotline. Tell us a little bit about your conversation with Seth Hennigan, the Jaguars undrafted free agent rookie quarterback.
Let me tell you something. This kid will not be lacking for confidence. He is not coming in here hoping that he's going to make this roster. He expects to. And, he's going to, and he told me he's going to take what worked for him at Memphis, and that is a high football IQ. He's got a coach who's a father. And I think he's really going to, as time goes on, I think he's really going to bond with Liam Cohen, who his dad coached him. Liam went to a mid-major at UMass. Okay, so Seth goes to Memphis, and Mia, you were the first one to mention that John Gruden had him on his quarterback club video and everything, and I watched that whole thing. You know what the great thing about watching Gruden on YouTube is he can cuss,
and he does.
Yeah, and you know what? He got so excited about what Seth Hennigan was putting on film, and he was asking Seth Hennigan to comment. He got Seth Hennigan to actually drop an F-bomb
Yep. He did. He gets him so fired up that all of a sudden he starts cussing up a blue streak.
Exactly. Gruden go from. So, look, if John Gruden thinks you can play, I think that you got to take that with more than a grain of salt. And it just depends on whether the Jaguars want to have somebody that they want to groom for down the road. They've got a couple of veterans with Mullins and Walford. It's a lot of experience ahead of him. But I'll tell you what, it won't be because this kid doesn't think he can make it. He thinks he can. He thinks he's got the IQ. He thinks he's got the fundamentals. And it was a 5-minute conversation, but I fell in love with the kid.
And I think anyone who's watched that Gruden QB class video with him, which is about 45 minutes, will feel the same way. All right, Gary, let's get back to golf. Does Rory McIlroy, does he win the career Grand Slam this year?
Well, he did.
But yeah, he already won the Grand Slam. Or the career. I think Lauren's alluding to, does he win another major this year? Could he win all 4 majors?
Right, like this year, yeah.
Yeah. I you know what? It's the current setup of the 4 majors. It's never happened. Bobby Jones won. There was the U.S. Amateur and the British Amateur involved in that. But you look at the setup there. Okay, Rory McIlroy's going to a golf course this week where he's won 4 times. Okay, then he's going to Oakmont for the U.S. Open, where it's a big boy golf course again. Favors the long hitters. Then he's going to go to Royal Portrush. Just happens to be in his home country.
Right.
Okay. So if there was ever, I don't think it ever set up for Tiger any of the 5 times he won the Masters. I don't know that if the rest of the majors set up for Tiger that well. But, the pressure is going to build up, from one tournament to the next. It wouldn't surprise me if he did that, because he's also, regardless of where these courses are being, where these tournaments are being played, he's playing very, very well. He's playing at a high level. He's playing at a higher level than Scottie Scheffler, who's still number 1 in the world. But boy, I like his chances better than any time that Tiger had a chance to win the Grand Slam in 1 year. But really, with all the talent out there, and you got the live guys in there like DeChambeau and Cam Smith, our guy, right? Cam Smith is still our guy. And, boy, that's going to be tough.
He's our guy, you and me, Smiths. I don't know about Lauren.
Anybody on the live is not my guy. And, yes, I meant calendar Grand Slam, not career Grand Slam, because, yes, he's already won that.
Rory McIlroy finished T7 at the Truist Championship last week, Smitter. Before we let you go, let's hit a couple other maybe long shots, because you love Hard Rock's plus 1,600 money line pick of Justin Thomas to win the PGA Championship this weekend. He, of course, finished T2 up in the Philadelphia area last weekend. Shane Lowry faded down the stretch. The putter did not serve him on that back 9. He also finishes T2. Shane Lowry, perhaps a little surprising, plus 4,000 odds, the same as Hideki Matsuyama, Tyrrell Hatton, and Brooks Koepka, as well as our friend Victor Hovland. Taylor Dahl isn't here, but we have to get Victor Hovland's name in there. Maybe some long shots, maybe some names that aren't on the radar, Smitter, that you think Quail Hollow could suit.
Well, I mentioned Corey Connors already and everything. I like Ben Griffin, who won the team title at Zurich with Andrew Novak. And by the same token, I like Andrew Novak, too. Good player, the pride of Wofford University. Okay. There's been 2 PGA Tour players from Wofford, and Andrew Novak is one of them. And I really think that Harris English is somebody to watch, because Harris English has played well at U.S. Opens and PGAs where the courses are playing long, the rough is up a little bit, and he's given himself a chance. And he's already won this year. And by the way, Harris English, very good buddies with Liam Cohen. And the backstory on that is that Harris English's agent, Liam's agent, went to high school with Harris English in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, good buddies. So, if Harris English won this, it would be kind of a local angle for us.
It sure would. It sure would. All right, Gary, well, we so appreciate your time today.
Anytime, lady. I really appreciate you having me on.
You're the best, Smitter. And, of course, you can find him at G Smitter on X.
Yes, he's so knowledgeable about golf. We love having him on. By the way, to clean up the conversation about the Rams, Mia, 2018, the Rams played that crazy game in Mexico, 54-51 victory for the Rams. And then in 2019 is their last time in London. They did play at Wembley Stadium that year.
Nice.
So there you have it. All right, we will get it to our Heels highlights on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
1010XL.
It's only about winning.
Oh, look at this. Goes deep. How about that? Touchdown. Here's Tebow. How about that? Touchdown. Florida. The legend is expanding. Where we win together.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barry here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barry Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarryOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barry Orthopedics.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD. I'm Max Fink, and I'm your Gator Updater. Listen for the Gator Report several times a week on 1010XL.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Go, Gators! It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather starting to turn for the better, look ahead. Get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are best in the business. If you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop SummitRacing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
DUI? BUI? Don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony at 2854-LAW. That's 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Hacker here, and let's talk sincerity. You know, there's a big difference between someone tossing you a casual, hey, how you doing, and genuinely asking, no, really, how are you doing? At Awaken 180, I felt that sincerity every single week while dropping 122 pounds, and I still feel it every month in free maintenance for life. Sure, seeing that number plunge on the scale was incredible, but what truly pushed me across the goal line? My amazing Awaken 180 coaches. They coached me up like I was prepping for draft day, always in my corner, sincerely invested in my success, and check this out. I'm going on a cruise in a couple couple of weeks, complete with formal night. Now, normally, cameras and I have a strained relationship. I hated taking pictures, but thanks to Awaken 180, the camera and I have made peace. No more ducking photos. Want results you can actually keep? Do what we all did and call 844-346-1800 or book online at awaken180weightloss.com.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. But if they're paying your salespeople commission, you're starting off in the hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
Swing into the hottest party of the summer. Join First Tee North Florida at the Yards on June 12th for the Summer Soiree Baja Beach Bash. We're bringing the vibrant spirit of Cabo San Lucas to the First Coast for an evening of family-friendly fun. Enjoy live music, craft cocktails, golf games, raffle prizes, and delicious Mexican-inspired cuisine from Taco Lu. Golf, fiesta, and philanthropy, all to support the impactful programs of the First Tee. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree to secure your tickets today.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Lone Pronto. Some Gators teams are already hitting the postseason and are having some early success. The Gators men's golf team is off to a hot start at Gold Mountain Golf Club out in Washington for round 1 of the NCAA Regionals. On Monday, Luke Poulter's 4 under 68, which tied him for first, and Matthew Kress's 3 under 69 tied for third, as well as Ian Gilligan and Jack Turner at 1 under, have the Gators' cumulative score at 9 under par for day 1 with a 7-shot lead over the second place Arizona State Sun Devils. The top 5 schools out of the 14 in the regional will advance to the NCAA Championships, held from May 23rd through 28th at Omni La Costa Resort in Carlsbad, California. The SEC men's golf champions have a good shot at making a run towards a second national title in the last 3 years. It's 82 degrees at 101. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg.
Taylor Doll's on vacation this week. Mia O'Brien is here. RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. By the way, I mentioned that I went to the family reunion, our family reunion, over the weekend, and I had to share, of course, a little bit. Everyone shares a little bit about their current life, how it's changed over the last year. And I mentioned, that I work in sports talk radio, and my aunt was there, and she's like, let's do a Duval. So I was like, all right, I'm going to teach those of you. A lot of are from Jacksonville, from Florida, but there are certainly people from Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina. And so I was like, all right, this is how it goes.
Right.
I'm going to, yell Duval, and then you're going to hear how it sounds. And then I'm going to give a 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do it with me. And they did. And it was fabulous. I should have been videotaping, but obviously I was more worried about just getting them to get it all in there. And it was wonderful.
Love that.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
So, spreading the good message and the good word.
That's right. I also did teach some family members what holding is on the offensive line.
All right, cool.
They were like, so what exactly is that? And I was like, well, let me show you. And I was like, this is what Helmets and Heels does. We just go around and we talk about sports all the time, whether we're on air or off air, and we have so much fun doing it.
Although I'd argue holding is kind of like, what is a catch? Did you you actually give, like, no one actually knows what the definition is. It's just
True. The
provocative.
way I explained it was if you're the defensive lineman's hands if you're the offensive lineman's hands and they are inside the defensive lineman's shoulder pads, you're most likely not going to get called even if you are pulling the jersey. The moment that your hands for an offensive lineman go outside those shoulder pads, that's usually when they're going to throw that yellow flag.
Yes.
So that's
what the rules, the rule book says, as already established. Lauren Brooks follows the rules.
That's right.
So that's the rule. Whether or not that's the interpretation for some, that remains to be seen.
All right, let's get into this week's highlights. RJ, take it away.
Now, here's highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Harvard and Syracuse in the game of the year in men's lacrosse, even if Harvard blows a 8-2 halftime lead.
Clemson down one. Guest being hit by English. Gives it up for Spidell. Up at the top. Gaffney. He shoots. He scores. Owen Gaffney has tied the game. Spalina still with it. Feeds it on the cut. Here's Hiltz to shot to score. Owen Hiltz wins it for Syracuse, and they're going to the quarterfinals.
Dear NBA, you say, I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you done.
Picking third will be the Philadelphia 76ers. The second pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and that means that the number one pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Is Jordan Mailata the best singer in the NFL?
For the bottle and brought me back from being too far gone. You can't stop him now. Tennessee whiskey, you're as sweet strawberry wine. You're as warm. I stay strong on your love all the time.
Can you imagine singing Tennessee Whiskey in front of Chris Stapleton?
Wasn't there a story that like he hadn't actually sang until they sat down to do the Philadelphia Eagles Christmas album, and then it was like his first time in a recording studio, and now we just throw Jordan Mailata out there anytime we need someone to sing.
But yeah, that was the Eagles offensive lineman, and it was before a Chris Stapleton concert up there in Philadelphia, which if you haven't seen Chris Stapleton perform live, you are missing out. He is unbelievable. He sounds just as good as he does on the records. And so yeah, to have the gall, just the ability to sing like that too is so impressive. And Chris Stapleton himself was impressed. I loved that video. All right, your highlight, I'm guessing, Mia, was Harvard-Syracuse lacrosse, because I'm also guessing RJ's was the NBA draft lottery.
Yes, and don't worry, fans of the association, we're going to circle back to you a little bit later in the 1 o'clock hour, because RJ and I have a lot of tinfoil hat theories that we're going to workshop live on the air together. RJ, of course, is filling in for Hacker, who's filling in for Rick, and so you could catch him 8 to 10 p.m. last night, tonight, tomorrow night, all week long with Rick on vacation. But RJ and I are going to have a little bit of fun coming up, because we both have a lot of questions for the world of basketball. Lacrosse, though, we watched a lot of that in our house over the weekend with the NCAA tournament kicking off for both the men's and the women's brackets. And this was easily the craziest game I watched of any sport this weekend, maybe even this year, Lauren. Harvard up 8-2 at half. Syracuse looks dead in the water. As an alum of that other communication school in central New York that they sometimes refer to as Little Brother, I'm texting my parents. I'm texting anybody. I'm saying I'm drinking their tears. Take that. We live in the park ages, not the Newhouse ages, folks. And then Syracuse decided to rattle off 10 goals in the second half. They actually took the lead, 12-11, with about a minute 30 left or so on the clock in regulation.
So you see goals in lacrosse, just not hockey.
Yes, correct. Although I did see a goal in hockey the other day. Sorry to Jim the Heeligan, who unfortunately it was not your Washington Capitals. It was the Carolina Hurricanes. However, yes, I do see goals in lacrosse. And so Syracuse improbably takes a 12-11 lead, 7 seconds left. Harvard sprints down the field, rip shot, game tied again, 12-12, all the momentum going their way. It's golden goal in overtime in college lacrosse for both the men and the women. And so Syracuse finds the back of the net within, I think it was like 2.5 minutes of that overtime period.
And you hate Syracuse, so I'm shocked that this was your highlight.
Yeah, just because it was a great game. Like, it was just such a great game. Like, you knew as soon as they scored, and then there was a turn. So they score, right? They go up 12-11. They win the faceoff. They're on Harvard's defensive end of the field. Harvard forces a turnover. There are 16 seconds on the clock. And you knew, you were just like, the way that this game has gone, Harvard is going to go downfield and they are going to score. And then they did. And then it goes to overtime. And yeah, Syracuse prevails, but it was just a great game. And I think that the fact that Harvard forced overtime in that clutch situation will maybe soften the blow of the fact that they blew an 8-2 lead. Because yikes. Now,
I mean, that's like 28-3.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, it was not.
Patriots over the Falcons.
It was not good. And we were looking at a world in which of the Elite 8 teams in the Final Four in the men's lacrosse bracket at the quarterfinals, we were looking at a world in which we would have 3 teams from the Ivy League: Cornell, the number 1 overall seed; Princeton, the number 3 overall seed. There was going to be a world in which all 3 of them were going to be at the Hempstead quarterfinal site this upcoming weekend. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but there's more Syracuse alums on Long Island, so they'll probably sell more tickets than if it was Harvard as the 3rd of 4 teams on that site. But yes, the quarterfinals this weekend in Hempstead, and then on the U.S. Naval Academy campus in Annapolis. I love that lacrosse on the men's side has taken this up of, hey, much like basketball, let's have a quarterfinal Sweet 16 Elite 8 site that's neutral as opposed to playing on the campuses of the number 1 overall seed. And certainly we see with baseball and softball, because how many more teams are in the field comparatively, we see home field advantage come through in both the regionals and the super regionals. And I think that there's merit to that. But just as there's been a conversation, Lauren, regarding women's basketball and the idea of those top seeds having home court advantage through the first 2 rounds versus on the men's side where it's all on neutral courts, I think it's a fascinating discussion. In this situation, I'm all the way here for it because you bring it to lacrosse hotbeds that, well, yes, in theory, could Navy have qualified for the men's lacrosse tournament? Absolutely. Could Hofstra have qualified? Absolutely. They're not in the field, though, and so you bring in some different schools and give fans of simply the sport an opportunity to see high-level lacrosse.
Well, I don't know that it really affects it in women's lacrosse because I don't know that they're usually sold out. At least when I watch on TV, I see a lot of empty seats, unfortunately. Right. But speaking of on-campus sites, Gainesville, of course, University of Florida, will take on 15th ranked Duke in women's lacrosse Thursday at 2:30.
And that'll be in Gainesville because on the women's side, it is still the higher seed host in the quarterfinals.
Right. All right, time now for our Terminix Pest of the Day. As always, our friends at Terminix do such a great job, whether you have any issues with pests, termites, or if you want them to eradicate mosquitoes in your yard like we had them do for us. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. And there's a reason that they take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, which, by the way, I never mentioned. I was able to buy the Riley Green tickets last week. I'm very excited to see him at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena in August. All right, so the Chiefs super fan, most people know him as Chiefsaholic. His real name is Xavier Babudar. He was already serving a 17-and-a-half-year federal sentence for robbing banks in 7 states. And then yesterday, he was sentenced to another, 16 years because he was also caught in another state. So in Oklahoma as well. So he will now serve 32 years in prison for robbing all of these banks. And I hate thieves. That is one thing that just really bothers me. I understand some people have to steal in order to survive. I get that. But this guy was just taking advantage of innocent people.
It bothers me. Have you seen the Amazon documentary on him?
I have not.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
Highly recommend. He was on the streets, his family, impoverished, homeless. Not that excuses robbing banks, but there's a lot going on there. Again, it's not to make light of an awful situation,
right?
But it's very clear that he and his family have adapted to this lifestyle. And, I feel obviously for, his mother and the rest of his family that now don't have that source of income as illegal as it is. But ultimately, there's a lot at play. And even if you don't like the Chiefs, I think you'll get a kick out of just like the sheer content of it all, and the fact that it took so long to track him down, not to mention he creates this entire alternative alias ego on the side as the Chiefsaholic.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. So yeah, the district attorney was looking for him to serve life, but he was given a concurrent sentence, like I said, of now totaling 32 years. And so hopefully he doesn't rob another bank. That's all I have to say about that. All right, we will get it to the NBA on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Story is the foundation of all entertainment.
1010XL.
It's a fun name to pronounce. Try and say it.
Where stories come to life every day.
So you're finally going to put me in one of your stories.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
It's back. What's back? Mia here, and I'm glad you asked. The Summer Starts Here sales event. That's what. It's back, and it's packed with hot summer savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Why buy from Arlington Toyota? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection during the Summer Starts Here sales event. Like over 800 vehicles in one location. I told you it was big. Camrys, Corollas, RAV4s, Tacomas, Tundras, even the all-electric B74X. Shop it all at Arlington and save today. And no one does buying confidence like Arlington with their 60-day exchange. That means you buy it, take it home, basically test drive for 60 days, and then if you decide it's not right for you, bring it back and exchange it. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because during the Summer Starts Here sales event, you can get financing as low as 0% on select new models. 0%. Shop Summer Starts Here at Arlington. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295 or arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Lauren Brooks here for Novus Glass of Jacksonville. We've all had to deal with a cracked windshield. Well, next time, go to a local company to get your windshield repaired for free at Novus Glass. And now, Novus Glass is the only place in Jacksonville you can get Turbo Tint. Turbo Tint looks amazing, and it will keep your ride cool and comfortable all summer long. Turbo Tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays. So all of us here in the Sunshine State need Turbo Tint, and Novus Glass is the only place you can get it. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com. That's orangepark.turbotint.com.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all. From mowing, edging, fertilizer, to irrigation, and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
The PGA Championship is known for testing a golfer's all-around game.
It's a very difficult putt to read.
Hear updates and coverage of the PGA Championship, teed up by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Ray. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
When it comes to your utility bill, JEA wants to help you use less so you can save more. We offer a variety of free programs, like efficiency and irrigation assessments that'll teach you ways to conserve energy and water around your home. Our alerts will let you know when your utility usage has reached a set amount, and our rebates can help you save when upgrading to more efficient appliances and equipment. Find even more ways to save at JEA.com.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they probably fenced it too. From tough chain length to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
All right, gentlemen, we've trained for this. We've battled the elements. But if there's one thing we can't afford, it's letting the heat take us out before the big game.
But, Coach, the AC at my house is busted. I barely got any sleep last night.
Well, Johnson, you should have called Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. They're the real MVPs. Now let's cue the cool music.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
We're cooling down now because we are going to chat with John Burton up in Nashville in our final segment. And I love to cool down with some college football. We have the opening weekend kickoff times for August 30th for the SEC and ACC. So excited. You will find me on my couch as we have Syracuse, Tennessee, that game in Atlanta kicking off at noon. That one on ABC. We have Alabama at Florida State. That one 3:30 on ABC. That one's going to be a huge game. And then the nightcap, LSU at Clemson, 7:30 kick on ABC. And then on Sunday, we will have South Carolina, Virginia Tech at 3 p.m. on ESPN. Love me some college football. One other note that came out of the ACC spring meetings yesterday, Mia, Mario Cristobal discussed Carson Beck and his return from that shoulder surgery, and he's been cleared to obviously throw the football. We've known that for a couple weeks, but he's also going to be a full participant in everything this summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so good news for Carson Beck. Certainly very good news for the University of Miami.
All right, folks. It's time. RJ, I will let the listeners know that you and I have already workshopped this a little bit, but I'm excited to bring it to the Helmets and Heels audience. Let's imagine here for a second.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
The fact that Jaguars Today, a program that centers around the Jacksonville Jaguars and the National Football League, found themselves discussing the NBA draft lottery is about all you need to know, folks. There is some sort of either greater power or meddling at play, as RJ noted in his Heels highlight in the previous segment. In case you missed it, the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA draft lottery last night. They had the 11th best chance to win the NBA draft lottery. Some other teams that have had the 11th or, I don't know, somewhere in that second half of the lottery, best odds to win. Not the worst record, not the second or the third worst record, and thus the best odds of winning. The Orlando Magic back in 1993. Of course, they used that number one overall pick to select one Chris Webber. Later, of course, turned that around for one Penny Hardaway. Correct me if I am wrong, RJ.
You're correct.
And that's it. Tied for the best, or rather worst odds to actually have the ping pong ball claim their name. But let's imagine here for a second, RJ, because this is the conversation you and I were having off the air. Let's look at some of those other teams that didn't have the worst record in the NBA, and somehow, some way, the ping pong ball went their way. Let's take it back to the year 2008. The Chicago Bulls the 9th best odds. At the time, outside of that Orlando Magic situation, that was the team that had the worst odds, thus one of the better records, to be in the lottery. Somehow, some way, the Chicago Bulls win the lottery, and they earn the right to select Chicago's own Derrick Rose. Let's go to 2011. The number 1 overall pick that the Los Angeles Clippers had the ball bounce their way, but that pick was already slated to be conveyed to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The 8th best odds to win the draft lottery. RJ, who did the Cleveland Cavaliers select in that NBA draft lottery?
In 2011?
Yes.
Kyrie Irving.
Okay, what had happened that summer, or rather the year prior to that?
I'll be taking my talents to South Beach.
Okay, so LeBron James leaves. Magically, the Cleveland Cavaliers win the NBA draft lottery the very next season. Derrick Rose gets to come home to Chicago. How about the New Orleans Pelicans? The 7th best odds in the 2019 NBA draft lottery. The right to select one Zion Williamson. RJ, what happened earlier in 2019?
The Lakers told Lonzo Ball in his big baller brand shoes to get the hell out of town.
Anthony Davis traded away, and yet a new superstar emerges. I say all this to say, imagine, folks, if you go through the history books, the best record, the worst odds team, if you go through it, there's always another storyline at play. Whether that's the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New Orleans Pelicans. RJ, how about you get in on this conversation? Give me some of the other anecdotes that you've thrown out there to me already. It's 1:24 p.m. Eastern that you've thrown out as potentially maybe there's something else going on.
Well, I mean, I just believe that when the NBA wants to, they shall find a way. In 2012, after the entire veto situation by the hands of David Stern, because the rest of the league thought it wasn't fair that the LA Lakers were going to have Kobe Bryant and Chris Paul on one team. So just a couple of days later, the trade is vetoed, and Chris Paul ultimately does go to LA. He's just playing across the hall. The number 1 pick that year would then go to the New Orleans Pelicans, at that time the New Orleans Hornets. When the NBA wants to, they want to. Victor Wembanyama, I'm not saying that was a fix, but I do remember Justin Tremaine being irritated by the fact that you're really handing the number 1 overall pick to the San Antonio Spurs. This really feels like something that you're trying to maybe do a solid to Pop. You understand he's on the outs, but this now gives you your Tim Duncan for the next 20 years, and you put a solid team around Victor Wembanyama. Happy days are here again in San Antonio.
Which, speaking of the San Antonio Spurs, they now own the number 2 overall pick in this summer's 2025 NBA draft, which more than one folk, including RJ Saunders, believes they will flip for one Giannis Antetokounmpo. San Antonio, also not among the teams with the best odds to win the draft lottery, and yet here we sit. They will pick second, and the Philadelphia 76ers, by the way, in one of the largest media markets in the country, will pick third. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards, with the worst draft lottery, the best, because they had the worst records in the NBA, they're picking 5th and 6th.
Just be done with the whole lottery thing. Just do it exactly like the NFL does it, please. The worst team gets the best pick. That's how it should be.
Also, have to throw it out there. Never been a situation where the team wins the NBA draft lottery in the same city as the WNBA franchise that wins the draft lottery. The Dallas Wings, of course, earned the right to select Paige Beckers earlier this year. They had the 4th best odds of 13 teams. The NBA, of course, owns the WNBA as a controlling partner.
Cooper Flagg recorded a 35.5-inch vertical at the NBA Combine. So, those Dallas Mavericks, they may not have Luka anymore, but they're going to have a stud in Cooper Flag. All right, we will get it to the AFC South tour. Continues on the other side. We will chat with John Burton of News Channel 5 up in Nashville. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1. Frangie and Hicken on Mondays. 2. Denny Thompson and Hacker on Wednesdays.
Who's counting?
1010XL now has 2 original Gator podcasts each week.
One for you, one for me.
Search 1010XL Florida Gators wherever you find podcasts or visit 1010XL.com.
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deals served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise in the Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and this special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance through dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
This spring, the action is non-stop at Best Bet St. Augustine. From heart-pounding daily high hands and tournaments to amazing table games promotions. But that's not all. Immerse yourself in the excitement of your favorite springtime sports at Aces Sports Bar, located in Best Bet St. Augustine. Enjoy a perfect blend of wings, beer, poker, and all the big games on our massive screens. For a full rundown of all the action and how you can be a part of it, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hayes did it, Dempsey, Ballou, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th. With Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Living on Amelia Island? Having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Join us at Miller Electric May 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. We're on the lookout for talented people, from entry-level to experienced electricians and foremen, security system installation and service technicians, fire alarm system service technicians, and both senior and junior VDV technicians. This is your chance to get hired on the spot. Meet the managers, indulge in delicious food, and snag some awesome giveaways. Don't miss out on this electrifying chance to power up your career. Miller Electric, May 29th, 4 to 7 p.m., 6805 South Point Parkway.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Our tour around the AFC South continues. Our good friend John Burton of News Channel 5 up in Nash Vegas, kind enough to join us to break down all the comings and goings of the Mike Borgonzi-led Tennessee Titans. But first, since we haven't mentioned them yet on today's program, and it's our final segment of the day, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up John Burton and the New York Knicks, his New York roots. How pumped are you right now? Or as a basketball fan, is there part of you that does feel for Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics' big what if now lingering over this postseason run?
Yeah, it definitely does me. And by the way, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's always great to talk with you. You know, it's kind of bittersweet. I was so pumped for the Knicks winning. I felt horrible for Tatum. Look, I'm a guy that grew up hating the Boston Celtics, sports hate, but, you know, you never want to see that happen. Tatum's a great player and by all accounts a great guy, and this really puts his future and the future of the Boston Celtics in a lot of jeopardy. But, you know, unfortunately, as cruel as this may sound, I can't worry about that right now. My team's up 3-1 with a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm loving it.
And, of course, it's a win for college basketball anytime the New York Knicks win, which warms my heart. Let's get it to the Tennessee Titans. Big picture, John. 365 days ago, what were the Tennessee Titans? What are they on the 13th of May?
Boy, it's about a 180. That's a great question, Mia. I mean, 364 5 days ago, we all thought, I certainly did, that, you know, they had their future franchise quarterback in Will Levis. They were going to build around him. I actually thought Rand Carthon did a great job as then the general manager, building this team, some of the free agent moves, some of the trades, getting Calvin Ridley, getting Tony Pollard, and it just all blew up. And it really just blew up on opening day when, you know, Will Levis made that ill-advised try to throw the ball away against Chicago, and he gets a pick six, and they lose the game, and it just got progressively worse from there. So, you know, enter a new regime. Chad Brinker is now the vice president and president of operations, and Mike Borgonzi, the longtime Chiefs executive, is now the general manager, and you have a new potential franchise quarterback in Cam Ward. You've got a new front office structure. You've got a lot of new players. You've got a coach in Brian Callahan that's probably coaching for his life right now. So, yeah, a lot has changed in the 365 days with this Tennessee Titans team.
Well, John, we have to say thank you to the Titans for drafting Cam Ward, because that, of course, then allowed the Jaguars to trade up from 5-2 with the Browns and get Travis Hunter. But let's talk about Cam Ward. I've read that he's already showcasing himself as a great leader. How's that exactly playing out here just early in the season?
So far so good, Mia. I mean, he's a guy that, I was able to do a one-on-one interview with him the day after he got drafted and he arrived here in Nashville. And you just look at that dude's eyes, he's all about ball. He's all business. Other guys are flash and dash and, he doesn't wear like the crazy clothes or the super gaudy, expensive jewelry like I do. But, he's all about ball. He's all business. And he did, I did attend the one practice that we were allowed to attend from a media standpoint at rookie minicamp last weekend. And he looked in command and he looked very comfortable. The way he threw the ball, he's got a quick release, a lot quicker than I anticipated. And he looks the part. He looks like a franchise quarterback. But you know what? Again, I said the same thing about Will Levis a year ago. So what the hell do I know? But, I mean, he's already won over a lot of the veterans. And he's one of those guys that makes it a point. He wants to learn everybody's name in the front office. If you're working in the cafeteria or if you're a custodial worker or whatever you do inside that building, he wants to get to know everybody. So, like I said, he looks the part, and we'll see how it plays out on the field. The interesting thing is, obviously, how soon are we going to see him play, right? That's the question everybody wants to know. Well, Brian Callahan has said, and he's doubled down on it, that this is an open competition to be the starting quarterback. You've got Ward. You've got the two veterans they signed, Tim Boyle and Brandon Allen. And, of course, last year's starter, Will Levis. So that's a pretty crowded quarterback room right now. So we'll see how it plays out. And the Titans have basically said, we are in no hurry to make Cam Ward the face of our franchise. We want it to happen organically. We want it to happen naturally. So we'll see how it plays out, especially this summer at training camp.
Logical follow-up, John. When is Will Levis traded? Sorry, just had to throw that out there.
What are you going to get for him, Mia? I mean,
not wrong. You're not wrong. That's true. It's a great counterpoint. That's a great counterpoint.
It takes two to tango, Mia. I'm sure that the Titan. I'm sure Borgonzi and Brinker and Amy Adams Strunk and everybody involved. If you asked them in a private moment, they'd say they'd love to move on from him. But what are you going to get for him? That's the question. So I think you got to wait it out because how training camp goes. Somebody's going to get hurt or something's going to happen. They're going to need a quarterback, and that's probably going to be their opportunity.
John,
I would say probably sometime during training camp.
John Burton is our guest on the Checkmate Coatings hotline. You can check out his work on X at John Burton 3234. Of course, a anchor reporter at News Channel 5 in the sports department. You could also catch him 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio. Let's stay on the offensive side of the ball, John. I want to pair a couple things together. Mike Borgonzi, his draft strategy, the number of pass catchers and playmakers that they targeted on day 3 of the NFL draft. I had good intel that Jahmyr Dike was going to be a 4th-round pick, much to the surprise, I think, of many Florida Gator fans and many who were in the Jaguars media room during day 3 of the NFL draft. Certainly, Io Maynor falling in the 4th round, falling all the way to the late 4th round was a surprise. What do you make of some of these other draft picks on the offensive side of the ball for the Titans?
Well, you mentioned those two receivers, a couple of guys that have some speed and can get down the field, but let's not forget about Gunnar Helm, the tight end out of Texas. I mean, I think the strategy was clear. To your point, we have our hopefully potential franchise quarterback. We got to get him weapons. They got an offensive lineman to help protect him. They've made a lot of changes on the offensive line, but that's the best friend of a young quarterback. Reliable weapons that can get open, get down the field, and help him move the chains. So I think it's very significant, and they had a very specific plan of how they wanted to attack this draft. Once they knew, okay, Cam's going to be our guy, how do we fortify him with weapons? Because when you think about the history of the Tennessee Titans, Mia, and you know this, I mean, they've had, you can go Vince Young, Jake Locker, Marcus Mariota. All three of those guys were brought in, and there weren't a whole lot going on elsewhere on the offense for them to work with. They don't want to make that same mistake with Cam Ward. So you're right. A guy like DK, a guy with speed, a guy like Io Maynor, who actually lit up Travis Hunter a couple of years ago when they played Colorado when he was playing for Stanford. So, it's not only do we have our young quarterback, we have to get him weapons, guys that can make plays for him. So, on paper, it looks like a smart strategy, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree, which we don't really like down here, obviously. But at least for the here and now, the Titans pay their receivers a lot more than the Jaguars pay their receivers, since, of course, Brian Thomas Jr. on a rookie contract, as is Travis Hunter. I do wonder, do you think the offensive line has been fortified enough to be able to protect whether it's Levis, whether it's Cam Ward, and I think it'll be Cam Ward?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they've made some significant changes, right? They signed Dan Moore Jr. out of Pittsburgh in free agency. He's going to be the left tackle now. They're going to move J.C. Latham, last year's number 1 draft pick, from the left side to the right side. And I thought he was okay last year on the left side, struggled a little bit towards the end of the season, but obviously he played right tackle in college at Alabama, so that's probably going to be more of a natural fit for him. They signed Kevin Zeitler, the veteran guard, so that takes care of their right guard problem. And they got Skoronski at left guard, who I think is doing pretty decent. The big question probably is center. You know, they had an injury there last year, so but they're trying to get this offensive line right. And listen, you know me, I'm a New York Giants fan. When you don't have a good offensive line, your team can't do anything. So I think it'll be improved from last year, but it can't get any worse because, you know, they had one of the worst offensive lines. It was a combination of a shaky quarterback making bad decisions in the pocket and a leaky offensive line. And you know that's a recipe for disaster.
And, of course, because you are a New York Giants fan by birth, John Burton of News Channel 5, you know that teams also win with their defensive front. In terms of pass rush, Jeffrey Simmons, a known commodity. Tavondre Sweat, I believe he outplayed a lot of folks' expectations of him his rookie season. Mm-hmm. But outside of those two, and Arden Key, who built the city of Jacksonville, do the Titans have enough in their defensive front to actually affect the quarterback in 2025?
That's going to be another big question going into the season, Mia. You know, they also re-signed James Lynch, who, you know, had over 250 snaps last year. So he played actually pretty well in a kind of a quiet kind of way. And, you know, they drafted in the second round Oluwafemi Oladejo, the edge rusher out of UCLA. He only spent 1 year as an edge rusher last year with the Bruins. Before that, he was a middle linebacker. So, you know, you're taking this guy in a second-round pick. You're expecting him to be special and make things happen. Yeah, they got to get improvement from their pass rush. And they're hoping Oladejo can come in and be an effective player right away. And, you know this, an edge rusher is a lot like a starting pitcher in baseball, right, Mia? You got to change speeds. You got to work the corners. You got to go speed rush one play. You got to go power rush the next play, a mixture of both the next play after that. So Oladejo's got a lot to learn, and they obviously have a lot of faith in him, making him a second-round pick. So that is another area that the Titans really need to address this summer is, you know, try to figure out an effective pass rush because Simmons, as great as he is, you know, he's not getting any younger, and he's had a lot of injuries.
Certainly, that is true. All right, when it comes to the schedule release tomorrow night, are there any games that you have already kind of learned, maybe through some back channels that the Titans will have on the schedule?
Not yet. I've been working on that really all morning because I plan on putting together a little piece on the Titans schedule for my hybrid role for TV tomorrow. But the game I'm looking forward to the most obviously has to be the Patriots coming back to town with Mike Vrabel. I mean, come on, that's you know that story writes itself, right? Vrabel coming home and all that, and the circumstances surrounding how he was fired by Amy Adams Strunk. That ought to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to find out the day and the time of when that game's going to happen.
And before we let you go, John, one of our listeners, of course, who we affectionately refer to as Heeligans, wants to know the latest on Xavier Restrepo, the former Miami Hurricane, once a teammate of Cam Ward, always a teammate of Cam Ward. Did the Titans get the steal of undrafted free agency?
Well, that remains to be seen. Restrepo's going to be in a pretty crowded wide receiver room. I checked him out over the weekend. You know, he looked okay running routes, but you know this, me, as well as I do. He's about to become a folk hero here in Tennessee. There's going to be a steamy, hot August night in a preseason game in the fourth quarter when he's playing guys that are going to be bagging groceries in a couple of weeks, and he's going to make a 15-yard catch, and everybody here in Nashville is going to say, we got to keep this guy because there's no better guy for an NFL fan base to fall in love with than the slow the slow, white, undersized slot receiver. Everybody in every NFL town loves that guy, and so he's going to become a folk hero. But in all seriousness, he's going to have his work cut out for him. I probably see him being a practice squad guy. I don't think he's going to make the 53.
But did he look slow at rookie minicamp last weekend?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he
in my
did?
eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He looked slow, and he didn't look all that quick either. So, I think there's a reason. I see why now he wasn't drafted. But he put up great numbers at Miami, like you said, and he was a safety valve for Cam. And Cam, really, really campaigned for him to be here. So, but he's going to have a really good summer in my eyes.
Canes fans, they emotionally are so conflicted if they root for both Miami and Jacksonville, John, because now here they are, Cam Ward, the Canes, the prince that was promised, although certainly I think folks are hoping that Carson Beck can step right in and pick up where Cam Ward left off, has now gone to the Jaguars' heated rivals, the Tennessee Titans. John Burton, of course, keeping us up to date on all the very latest up there in Nashville, and you can catch him, the JB and the General Show, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time, as well as News Channel 5. Appreciate you, brother man.
Always a pleasure, Mia. Be well.
Absolutely. And again, you can find him on X as well at John Burton, since his last account unfortunately got hacked. John Burton 3234 on the X machine.
From Nashville to Amelia Island we go.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Service by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
One person who knows a ton about Nashville would be one Joe Cowart. Joe, how are things in Amelia?
I tell you what, a heck of a lot better weather-wise today than it was yesterday, because when you drive up to this piece of paradise, you want to see the sunshine, and yesterday it was raining and this and that. Anyway, it's a gorgeous day, so there's a lot of people that are out walking the beach, out at the pool. Everyone's dressed like they want to go out and have a good time outside. So, yeah, gorgeous day today.
Is Bill Belichick on site? Have you spotted Jordan Hudson, Joe Cowart?
Yeah, so all we wanted to say yesterday was that we did spot him and her, that they were traveling together. No, we did not. We wanted to say it. We just couldn't say it. So Matt peeked his head into one meeting, and Bill Belichick was the last head coach that walked in, and he was about 15 minutes late. And so he just came in with that bad mood of his, but we never saw her for sure. He is supposed to be at the podium. Mark Long is going to go there at 2 o'clock, so about 10 minutes from now when our show starts, and then he'll come back and sit down with us. But he's supposed to be at the podium at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll see what happens.
Who else is on the docket for today, Joe?
Well, Mario Cristobal will be here in the 3 o'clock hour, and Mike Norvell, we hope to be able to get to him. He's doing his booster tour tomorrow night in Jacksonville, so we'll see whether we get him here or there. But it's just all about what's happening here and basically trying to tie a couple of these draft picks back to Jacksonville. Brent Pry, Virginia Tech head coach, we hope that we're going to be able to get with him as well to talk about his young star that is now part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it'll be all ball today.
We love it. Can't get enough of it.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. There he goes, the XL Primetime Live from the ACC Spring Meetings up in Amelia Island at the Ritz-Carlton. Have you ever been to that Ritz-Carlton?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It is absolutely stunning. That's for sure. All right, that'll do it for us today for the vacationing Taylor Doll, for Mia O'Brien. For RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will